After two canceled contests, the Red Rams return to Jamesville-DeWitt Central High School here in DeWitt, New York. But more than that, the Red Rams playing short staff tonight against the Oswego Buccaneers. This should be an interesting one. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Soccer Night in Syracuse. Hi, everybody. Sam Gelfand here alongside my broadcast partner, Zach McBennett. Thank you so very much for joining us on this live edition of Jamesville-DeWitt Athletics. How do you think JD is going to do in tonight's game?
Even though they are short-staffed, I feel like they will do very well against a team that has not had a win yet. So hopefully JD can pull one out.
Of course, the issue on my mind is the Red Rams had their last two games canceled. Will they be rusty?
I mean, as long as they've been practicing and they have been eating healthy and staying in shape, they should be fine, I think.
Well, let's hope for the best. But before we get to the starting lineups, we have a quick public service announcement for you from Jamesville-DeWitt Athletics. The best precaution you can take against COVID-19 is to stay home whenever possible. We encourage you to keep yourself and our student athletes safe by watching this broadcast remotely. Please let us bring the game to you instead. Now for the starting lineups for the visiting Oswego Buccaneers. Number 6, Sydney Heffer, Amanda Porter, Bella Kaprowski, Rosie Wallace, Kat Wincheck, Catherine Callan, Mia Fierro, Jordan Carrasio, Sophia Brosh, and Neely Pippin. And in the goal will be Emma Berger, who in 2019 had 139 saves. And if you think that it was a lot when Lauren Parker had 17 saves against Fayetteville Manlius, last year against East Syracuse Minoa, she had 25 saves.
That's astonishing.
That is inhuman. Meanwhile, speaking of the Red Rams, here's their lineup tonight with 5 players in quarantine. 4. I was just told right before the game that one has shown up. Megan Baker, Catherine Durkin, Brooke Holbert, Lily Linder, Nina Dermody, Maeve Murphy, Avery Young, Lindsey Hildreth, Sydney Ballatin, and Nora Prosak. And in the goal tonight for the Red Rams, making her goalkeeping debut as both goalies are currently quarantined, Kaylee McKenna. We'll have to see how she handles it, and I'll ask you a little bit more about that later, but right now, we've got a game to get to. Will the Oswego Buccaneers be forced to walk the plank once again? The Red Rams already beat them 4-0 earlier in the season. Only one way to find out, and that'll be coming up right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jamesville-DeWitt Central High School here in DeWitt, New York. My name is Sam Gelfand, and I would like to be the first to welcome you to this match between the visiting Oswego Buccaneers and your Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams. We kindly request that all spectators observe socially distanced seating and keep their masks on, covering both their mouth and their nose at all times. These measures may be inconvenient or uncomfortable, but they must be observed to preserve our season. With this in mind, today's match will be broadcast live on YouTube, free of charge for those unable to attend. We will continue to live stream JD Soccer throughout the season, and we encourage you to watch our contests remotely if possible. The smaller the in-person attendance, the greater chance we have of keeping our student athletes safe. Finally, Section 3 Athletics would like to wish both teams the best of luck in tonight's contest and remind you that the key to good sportsmanship is not rooting for any one team to lose, but instead rooting for any one team to win. Now let's go straight into the starting lineups. Starting with the visiting team, the Oswego Buccaneers, coached by Brian Green. Number 6, Sydney Heffer. Number 10, Amanda Porter. Number 11, Bella Kaprowski. Number 12, Rosie Wallace. Number 15, Kat Wincheck. Number 17, Catherine Khaled. Number 19, Mia Fierro. Number 21, Jordan Carrasio. Number 24, Sophia Brosh. Number 25, Neely Pippin. And in the goal tonight for the Oswego Buccaneers, number 32, Emma Berger. Ladies and gentlemen, the visiting Oswego Buccaneers. And now for the home team, your Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams. Coached by Haley Neese, assisted by Rebecca Peter. Number 2, Megan Baker. Number 3, Catherine Durkee. Number 7, Brooke Halpert. Number 8, Lily Linder. Number 10, Nina Darmonti. Number 11, Maeve Murphy. Number 12, Avery Young. Number 13, Lindsey Hildreth. Number 14, Sydney Ballantyne. Number 17, Nora Prusak. And in the goal tonight for your Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams, number 29, Kelly McBennett. Ladies and gentlemen, this contest will be underway momentarily. All right, then figure it out. Good.
He should be here any minute. I got someone who can do the whole game.
Gotcha. Until they are, I'll just have you on it, and I'll just point this mic out here so we get natural sound. And I'll do it on my own temporarily.
All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this game is about to begin between the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams and the Oswego Buccaneers. The Red Rams have a record of 3-2 currently. The Buccaneers a record of 0-6. The Buccaneers have scored 3 goals all season. They're hoping to add a couple more to their total right now. But before we get to this game, let's take a look at tonight's players on a rampage. Player on a rampage for the Red Rams, of course, is number 13, Lindsey Hildreth, who in the last game against Oswego on the 20th put in 2 goals herself. She has 4 career goals against the Buccaneers. 3 career 2-goal games, in fact, and she has 2 assists this year as well. Meanwhile, for the Buccaneers, number 11, Bella Kaprowski, the junior forward, has 2 goals this year, both of them coming on the 22nd against Auburn. She has scored 2/3 of the Oswego Buccaneers' goals so far. She's also a varsity hockey and lacrosse player. And we are underway here in DeWitt. Red Rams getting the ball first immediately, taken away from the Buccaneers. The Red Rams, of course, the two big stories being, first of all, both of their last games were canceled or postponed. Second of all, they are playing without 4 of their best players, including their 2 goalies. So with an emergency starter in the goal tonight, as well as the lack of game time experience over the past couple of weeks, how are they going to handle it? Well, the Buccaneers have immediately played defense here and taken the ball away from the Red Rams. The Red Rams, of course, are going to be noted for their defense not only tonight but the entire season. Throw-in coming in for Avery Young. Dangerous game playing it down the touchline, and a whistle's blown. It is a pretty dreary night here. It is not only raining, but the temperatures are in the low 40s currently. And all the leaves, the beautiful fall leaves, if you saw the game against Fayetteville Manlius, where it's really highlighted in the afternoon sun, well, they're all off the trees by now, for the most part. The Red Rams hoping to attack early. That's Maeve Murphy on the wing, and it is taken away. Of course, it goes without saying that the Red Rams' #1 asset is still Megan Baker, the sophomore forward, who has 8 goals this season in 5 games. She is just about unstoppable. And meanwhile, here's Lindsey Hildreth, who is highlighted as tonight's player on a rampage. And it's poked out once again. The Oswego Buccaneers have lost each game by a minimum of 4 goals each game. Meanwhile, here's Megan Baker, who has the greatest chance of opening this one up. Cuts across to the opposite wing. Passes it to Brooke Holbert. If anyone's going to open this one up, it most likely will be Megan Baker. And based on prior experience, it most likely will be opened up. But certainly, the Buccaneers have things that they are able to do better in order to keep this game competitive. And they certainly have a better chance at being competitive with the short-staffed Red Rams. There's a lot of dynamics playing into this game. Some fancy ball handling right now from the Buccaneers, but it is taken away. That was Kat Wincheck doing her best to bring it across half midfield. Wasn't able to reach there. Young passes it downfield. It's Murphy. Murphy towards the corner. Has a little bit of room to work with. Down the line. Now it's Young. Pass is taken away. That's Neely Pippin. And now Hildreth doing what midfielders do. Here's a cross. And it's immediately crossed out. Hold on, fighting for it. That's Nora Prosak. And the first save of the night for Emma Berger. Nora Prosak had it taken away from her. Shot on goal by Lily Linder. Last year, Jamesville-DeWitt named Linder their most improved player on varsity. There's danger! And the first goal goes to the Red Rams. Brooke Holbert with her first of the season and the first of her career. Where that big cross burger put it up, it went off the crossbar, and Hulbert just ate it right up. And this game is already tilting the Red Rams' way. It is 1-0 with less than 5 minutes expired. So we'll take another look at that goal. The cross in off the crossbar, and Hulbert playing heads-up offense. If you're a coach, that is exactly what you like to see. Not only spatial awareness, but aggression as well. Now here's Kat Wincheck taking it down the wing. And it's poked away by Linder. Defense from Hildreth now. Now Nora Prosak has poked away. Megan Baker has a chance, but it's going to get instead to Maeve Murphy first. Murphy with one man. Off the shin. She may get a chance to try again. And it's poked away by the Buccaneers defense. You know, while we're talking about Lily Linder, she describes herself as a playmaker, both literally and figuratively, not only on the field, but she also happened to be a finalist in the Syracuse Young Playwrights Festival. So she does literally make plays. That's one of those things I wish I was clever enough to make up myself. Murphy with the pass off the shin is a little too hard. Here's Hildreth as the rain continues to pour. Hulbert trying to fight for it. Now it's Hildreth. Poked out to Hulbert. In the corner now, it's poked away, and that should go Oswego's way. The Buccaneers, if you've noticed, tend to compress on defense. They know there's a good chance that there may be scoring opportunities from the opposing team, so rather than worrying about keeping forwards in advance in case of a possible clearance, they just want to crowd the goal. I don't know if you can say it's worked to success so far, considering they haven't exactly experienced much success this season. But whatever works. And of course, part of the Red Rams strategy tonight is to be super aggressive and keep the ball on the opposite half of the pitch, which normally you do for other reasons, but tonight it's especially so that emergency goalie Kaylee McKenna does not have to take as many touches. The further you can keep it away from your own goal, the better, because while McKenna is certainly an adept defender, you don't know how she is as a goalie. This is her goalkeeping debut tonight. Eight and a half minutes have expired. The Red Rams have already gone up early. And there it is, taken away by the Bucs. Attempted to thread it through, and the Red Rams all over that, but they're not going to get all over that ball before it goes out of bounds. Maybe they will. Very last minute. Looks like that's Prosak. Now Prosak and Baker trying to double team. There's a clearance. Lindsey Hildreth pokes it away. What they were hoping to be a pass turns out just more to be a weak shot on goal, and it is quickly scooped up by Emma Berger. And here's a breakaway. Not for much longer. The Red Rams very adept at cutting off counterattacks all season. Nina Dermody will get to that one first. And I have to credit it at least partially to the excellent coaching of Haley Neese, who knows a thing or two about success, a career .720 win percentage. That's Hall of Fame types of numbers. Battling for the ball. Lily Linder got to it. Now Megan Baker trying to do what she does best. Cuts left. The pass, will it get in time? Murphy had trouble tracking it down off the foot of Baker and sent to the sidelines. .28.5 minutes left in the first half of this game. Young throws it in. She seems to be almost a designated thrower-inner. I don't know if there's a term for that. Guess that's the term now. Baker fighting for it in the corner. Surprising amount of people have braved the rain tonight and shown up here at the JD Stadium. There's a cross in. It's sent out. They're going to try again. Higher pass this time. Off Baker. Off a defender's shin. Now going back to the corner and out. A couple of subs coming on. Looks like one of them is Amelia Rastley. Off the chest of Hildreth and goes out. The Oswego Buccaneers have brought a tent for their bench. Perhaps in violation of social distancing, but more importantly, as we learned from the game 2 days ago against Central Square, there is a 100% chance that whatever team brings out a tent will lose the game. Based on exactly one experience. Not very scientific. There needs to be more metrics in there. Meanwhile, Baker thought she had a great chance, and she did. Very nice stop by Emma Berger. We'll take another look at it. The cross coming in from Murphy, the header went a little too low, and Berger was able to fall on it. Now it's Young. Ball handling drills clearly coming in handy. Usually the referees will sometimes refer to as parakeets for their bright yellow, lime green jackets, but in tracksuits tonight due to the rain. It's wide of the goal. And you know what I have to appreciate? McKenna, although face partially obscured by mask, does not seem to be nervous. She is an excellent athlete. She's committed to Elon University. She plays basketball and lacrosse, and even though she's never played this position before, she's got this. And well, as Yogi Berra once said, 90% of the game is half mental. Now Megan Baker attempts to escape her opposite number, forced to the touchline. Look at that fancy move. Eventually pushed out of bounds by Amelia Rastley. But you can't always break away, although Baker's certainly going to attempt to. There's a pass. Can they get a handle on it? No, just wide. As Brooke Bohr tried to send one in. As I was trying to say, you can't be on a breakaway all the time, and in that sense, ball handling really is a very valuable skill, and that's something that the Red Rams do have in spades. I can't even begin to imagine the hours of ball handling drills Coach Neese must put them through. Opportunity for Murphy. She can keep the ball on the ground. It's a little wide right. "24 minutes left in the first half. The Buccaneers have 20 players on their bench. The Red Rams, due to their short-staffedness due to quarantine, currently have 17. Try to get a little fancy from the wing. From that angle, it's pretty hard to get it into the goal. You got to bend it real nicely. And that just was not the case. But you can't falter. That is one of the most difficult things to do with a soccer ball. I say one of the most because there's probably more difficult things to do with a soccer ball. I mean, it's probably harder to eat it. If you've ever eaten a soccer ball, please, we have a comment section. Let us know. How hard was it? I have to imagine very hard. Now here comes the attempted attack. That's Catherine Callan trying to keep it away. The clearance doesn't go far enough to be a clearance. And Hildreth put everything she had into that play. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Now, soccer ball is technically biodegradable, so if it's biodegradable, you'd think that you would be able to eat it. The very roots of the sport actually come from South America, even though it was invented in England. It came from sports played by the ancient Mayans in the areas around Mexico and what we now know as Panama, Honduras, El Salvador, etc. Except instead of a goal, they had to put it through a hoop on the side of a very tall wall. I got the chance to go to Mexico once. I saw the courts. I have no idea how they fit a ball through there. It must have been a one-goal game, and the games must have gone for like 2 or 3 hours each. But I mention this because the first soccer ball is coming from that, as that one is wide left. The first soccer balls derived from that ancient wall ball sport of the ancient Mayans were actually made out of rubber, from the rubber tree, which is only found in South America. And it was the very first European explorers who came to South America, as number 16 Emma Sutherland will come onto the pitch, that took the idea of the sport played with your feet back to Europe. There's a cool little historical side note. It's good to learn about things. May not be what you thought you were coming here for, as Alice O'Connor is currently battling. O'Connor was supposed to be on the quarantine list, but apparently it was found at the last moment that she was not potentially exposed, and she was allowed to play. Off the post! Can they try again, though? Here's Baker. 4 people in the box, maybe more. A brutal push. And Brookport putting her body on the line there. Take one more look at that shot on goal. Oh, wait, that's the push. Well, the shot on goal was really close. Just rest assured knowing that. So it'll be a free kick that's essentially a penalty kick. Simply from the distance and the area from which it will be taken. Questions are coming, who's going to take it? Baker, Hildreth, and Lind are all lined up. It's a touch. 3-way weave. Good trickery. But better defense from the Buccaneers. The Red Rams attempt to do a little Harlem Globetrotters action just outside of the 3-point line. Did we get it on replay? Well, we got the last moment of the defense. It was clever, that's for sure. You love to see it. It's unfortunate it didn't work out. Safe by Berger. There it is as we finally see the replay coming in. The long goal attempt was not in the cards. Sliding tackle against Hildreth. You know, the problem so far isn't that I've only memorized the names of the players on JD. It's that the players on Oswego just don't turn to face me. I can't see their numbers. But I'm doing the best I can. For instance, that was Amelia Rastley who poked that one out. Now O'Connor passes it forward. The Red Rams seem to have all the momentum in the world at the start of this game, scoring with less than 5 minutes into the game. And they've slowed down just a little bit ever since then. Megan Baker doing what she does best, getting around opposite numbers, heading to the corner, 2 people on her. She's gotten a little bit of extra special attention and went off the back of her heel. But here's Avery Young to try to mop up the mess. Someone just slipped. It's wet out there. It is most certainly damp. And they're going to let it roll out of bounds. Very smart play there. That's Sydney Balladin, who saw the trajectory of the ball was just going to head over the touchline if she let it roll enough, and let it roll she did. And we're going to go into the 2-minute mask break now. As once again, we thank you so very much for joining us here live on YouTube. If you've been joining us for this long, you probably know the drill. 2-minute mask break at about this point in the game. Let everyone catch their breath. First stoppage after the 20-minute mark of each half. And while we've got this stoppage, might as well compare how these two teams' seasons are doing. The Red Rams have a record so far of 3-2. The Buccaneers a record of 0-6. Red Rams doing better at home than the Bucs are on the road, but then again, the Bucs still yet to win their first game of the season. But the real story of the day is coming in the goal difference. It's coming in the goal difference. The Red Rams have scored 11 goals and allowed 10, so they have a +1 difference. The Buccaneers have scored 3 goals and allowed 41. That's an average of 6.8 goals allowed per game. And it's no wonder that the Buccaneers are attempting to crowd the box every time it's on their half of the pitch. And I think really the difference comes down to the save percentage. Yes, the Red Rams, without their two starting goalies right now, but between Lauren Parker and Amelia Zumbel, that's a save percentage of 76.4%. The Buccaneers, on the other hand, between Emma Berger and Julia Porter, it's 64.7%. And that 12-point difference makes all the difference in the world. Of course, it certainly helps that the Bucs, I'm sure, have allowed many more shots on goal. But even if you allow forwards to beat their men and break through and get a sight on the goal, you rest easier knowing that your goalie's got this. You know, it's the last line of defense. That's the point of a goalie. So the mask break is about to expire here in DeWitt. Thank you very much for joining us. Sam Gelfand here, and Zach McBennett supposed to be joining me. Instead, our cameraman just decided not to show up, it seems. So until we get someone to replace him, Zach is on camera right now. Oh, we have a cameraman? He's coming up? Oh, he's coming. There we are, the hero of the day. Who is it? Max McCall, number 13 from the Red Rams varsity boys team, will be coming up to assist. Saving the day, swooping in. It is our knight in shining armor. And well, it seems that we're getting a bit of a camera tutorial right now. And thank you very much for finally joining us, Zach.
It's good to be here.
It's been a little while, hasn't it? So what have you seen from the Red Rams so far tonight that you've really enjoyed?
I've really enjoyed the way that their forwards, their farthest up players, have been coming down to collect the ball. It's really good from them. It's really good for them to find central players and slip wingers through.
And by the way, that was Kaylee McKenna's first career save.
Congratulations, Kaylee.
Congratulations to her. Once again, if you're just joining us, as we're already halfway through the first half, and if you're just joining us, why is it taking you so long? Due to 4 players currently quarantined on the Red Rams, Kaylee McKenna making her first ever appearance in goal. In fact, here's a list of them right now. Rory Leach, Janice McPeak, Amelia Zumbel, and Lauren Parker, all currently out. It's a precautionary measure due to possible exposure to COVID-19. The Red Rams, Jamesville-DeWitt High School in general, not messing around when it comes to that sort of thing.
As a student, I can agree that they are doing very well with contact tracing and making sure people are out of school if they've been exposed.
Obviously, we all love the sport, but in today's very strange day and age, not that I have to tell you that it's strange, obviously safety comes first. And a series of balls, they're just... Does it ever get frustrating as a player that you get a series of throw-ins and it just keeps going right back over the touchline?
Yes. The short answer, yes.
Well, here's Sydney Ballatin in the backfield trying to make something happen more towards the center of the pitch. Triple teamed. No wonder it's going to go back the opposite way for a moment. Now here's Avery Young. Of course, the Red Rams boys team also had 3 players quarantined over the last game.
Well, one of them is on the camera now after he has been released from quarantine.
How is it? How you doing?
Dude, it's pretty easy. I'm not gonna lie.
It is easy, says Max.
I mean, quarantine isn't too bad. You sit home, you play Xbox or whatever.
Eat ice cream.
Don't tell Coach Law.
I think the microphone on the camera's picking that up, but in case you didn't hear it, he said, "Don't tell Coach Law." Don't worry, we won't unless he's watching. If you're watching Coach Law, well, thank you for watching. But second of all, ignore what just happened over the past 30 seconds.
If you look how compact Oswego's defense is, they're not leaving any spaces for JD to play through.
Well, it's almost a gut reaction to do so when you notice how many goals they've given up. 41 in 6 games. 42 if you consider this one, the 7th.
That could be... Good defense can always lead to a good counterattack, though, so defense can lead the offense.
Defense is the key to winning, they say, as the Buccaneers attempting to get what I think is only their 3rd actual counterattack so far of the game going, and they can't get it going.
And if you see how far down that forward is to collect the ball.
So now the Red Rams attempted to go on the attack. And that plan is squashed.
Oswego.
Nia Dawson has it taken away from her.
That's a very good read from Lindsey. She knows to protect the middle of the pitch, force them down line. Very good read from her. But if you see Oswego is finally getting some momentum going there, getting the ball up the pitch there, playing the ball through the midfield as JD seems to be wearing out a little bit.
This may be the effect of only having 17 players on the bench tonight, is if you don't have the stamina to go the distance. Oh, and that was a big opportunity. And it's just going to remain just that, an opportunity.
And Megan Baker does what she does best, getting through defenders, creating opportunities for herself and her teammates.
There's a little bit of a trip up. This is where that short bench is going to come into play. If you don't have the stamina to keep going this distance in the game, you've got to go to the bench, but you don't have that many players on the bench.
Well, having a deep bench can be a good and a bad thing. For when you have a lot of players coming on and off the field, it could mess with the team chemistry. But having lots of energy coming off the bench as well can be very good, especially near the end of the game.
Of course, it's a little different in high school. Usually at the higher levels, the biggest issue with a deep bench is salary cap.
That's why you see so many players go on loan.
Of course, while we're comparing higher levels and high school levels, it is interesting to think there is something of promotion and relegation here in high school between the different classes. It's mostly for number of students in the school. The class is mostly deserved for the talent pool. You know, class AA is for schools with 1,000 students or more, generally. That's why Jamesville-DeWitt, with about 730 students, is in Class A, just underneath Class AA. But depending on how well a team does, you can move up or down classes.
I believe Fowler has done that, and they have moved up to AA, although they are out for the season.
I believe Auburn actually just moved down, actually. I believe they were AA, and now they're A.
If you see JD playing the ball, switching the field a lot, creating opportunities through the midfield from creating spaces between the defense by switching the field. Because that one just trickles out.
Yeah, no opportunity coming there, though. That was Brooke Holbert running for her life. She scored the first goal today.
That was just some heads-up attacking, always crashing the net.
In fact, that was her first goal of her career, so congratulations to Brooke Holbert as Megan Baker tries to add on another. Coming away out of the goal, there's a trip up. Can Baker get to it? She can, but not before Berger's able to collect herself, attempts to pass to someone else.
And if you look at Oswego, they're just swarming the net. The second they lose the ball, they all just drop and pinch right into the middle of the field to try and prevent anything from going through them.
They're attempting to create the Great Wall of DeWitt out there. You better start finding me funny, Max. Your career's in my hands. Here comes the cross, and no.
Apparently a push on a Red Rams player results in a foul.
Of course, the referee is instructed to allow a lot to go on, but that was just a little too much. Do you think it's a good thing when players start getting more physical with each other?
It depends if there's trash talk going on with that as well, which usually it does result in that. But sometimes having some good physical play can lead to more opportunities for both teams.
Contrary to popular belief, soccer is a full contact sport.
And you would not know that unless you play it.
Yeah, certainly, I guess the NYSPHSAA didn't because they let soccer go on when they were trying to move other full contact sports such as football to the spring. In fact, we happen to have the NFHS directives on fouls and misconduct right next to us here, where it says, soccer is a contact sport. When a player acts with disregard of the danger to or consequences for the opponent, he or she should be cautioned for reckless play. When a player uses disproportionate and unnecessary force against an opponent, he or she could be disqualified for serious foul play. So generally, the belief is it's okay to get a little bit physical. It's only when you're acting with disregard for your opponent do cautions and yellow cards and talking tos really come into effect.
If you saw Megan Baker there, driving out her defender, drawing her in, and just slipping the ball out wide, creating opportunities for her teammates to get touches on the ball and whip crosses in.
And that's one of the great things about Megan Baker is she is an incredible goal scorer, but she's a selfless player, too. There's a great save by Berger. And the second goal of the day for Brooke Holbert.
Like I said, creating opportunities. Megan shoots it. Goalie has to make a great save, and Megan created the opportunity for Brooke to just tap it in.
Brooke Holbert started this game with no goals in her career. She has 2 to her name in the first half.
A brace for Brooke Holbert, 2 goals.
You love to see it. The Red Rams now up 2-0 over the Buccaneers. Let's take one more look at it just because we can. It was a great save by Berger, but better presence of mind by Brooke Holbert to be right there and poke it in.
You see Oswego. They should try to play the ball throughout the back, but you see Megan Baker going on, being really high, trying to win the ball from the center backs, playing a really high press.
So as I was trying to say, and we were then just treated to an example of, Megan Baker's a phenomenal goal scorer, but she's a very selfless player too. She's not afraid to give it to other teammates if they have better opportunities.
And that's just the mark of a great player, when you're willing to lend the ball away, knowing that your teammates are good enough to give it back.
And she also told me she is considering becoming a broadcasting major when she goes to college. I saw that and I was like, God, she's just trying to get on my good side.
You see how far that striker just went down to get the ball, and it works out in their favor as she checks away and creates somewhat of an opportunity for a slip ball.
The Buccaneers seem to have a little bit of difficulty keeping the ball inbounds, though. They're trying to play on the wing, but they don't have quite the finesse to be able to keep it from dribbling out.
Well, to help prevent that, they should be trying to play the ball throughout the back as much as they can, shift the defense so they can create pockets in the midfield for them, and then create more space on the wings once the ball gets played to the center of the field and the defenders collapse in.
Now Avery Young is going to poke it out. That's Linder trying to pass it forward. And there's a brutal push on Nora Prosak, though she seems to be all right.
No call.
Well, like we were saying, aggression's okay as long as it's not without disregard. Great save by Berger.
Double
and
save.
A punch out. Baker almost had it.
And that's why goalies have to train so much for those double saves. They have to react in an instant's notice like she did there.
Excellent reaction time. You know, you can't fault Emma Berger for the fact that the Buccaneers have allowed 41 goals this season. She has, going into this game, 49 saves.
That's an incredible amount.
In 6 games, no less. Her high came against East Syracuse Manoa on the 16th. She had 15. In fact, there's only been one game this entire season, the contest on the 6 versus Central Square, where she had any less than 10 saves. And she had 9 saves there. So you know that she's going to be putting in a lot of work tonight. She already has been.
She's been called to action multiple times, and she's done very well. And we're not even into the first half. We'll see how she does in the second.
As valuable as a good forward or a good midfielder or even a good defender can be for a soccer team, nothing anchors a team quite like a good goalie.
No, it doesn't even have to be the role that they play on the field, but it can be the role that they play off the field and trying to rally their teammates to be better and with that communication piece as well.
Now Hildreth is going to try to push it forward. And Murphy can't get to it in time. 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the first half of this contest between the Oswego Buccaneers and the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams. The Red Rams up 2-0 off of 2 goals from Brooke Holbert, who is emerging as the surprise star of the night. Tried to set something up there, but nothing was doing. Now Baker's going to pass it forward. And it's a little errant.
And if you saw what happened there, Oswego collapsing on the ball, trying to create no spaces for him to get through. They just switched the field and tried to create something on the other side.
That was Brooke Holbert again who had that shot on goal. And she battled back and got the ball back for the Red Rams. Attempted poke through by Linder, but nothing doing. Now Holbert gets it to Baker. Baker's just so fast. But that's speed without direction right there. Gets to a point you got to make an emergency shot on goal or just try to get it in, get it back to the pitch, and it's not speeding, it's crashing.
Mm-hmm.
There's exactly 2 minutes left in the first half.
And Megan Baker with a hit. And it's in.
And it's in! Megan Baker! Surprise, surprise, makes it 3-0, doing what she does best.
The turn-in shot from her was spectacular. The power behind the ball was what really got it through.
Megan Baker has such a bright future in the beautiful game as we take another look at it. Baker slips through, it's off the hands, and Berger can only watch as it helplessly dribbles in.
If you're Oswego here, you have to be wondering what you can do to try and get back into this game.
Well, they've been in this situation before. Remember, they've lost every game this season by at least a 4-goal margin. Only one game this season have they scored any goals. That was against Auburn on the 22nd. They lost that game 9-3. So even despite scoring 3 goals, they still lost by 6. And you can tell they're working hard out there. They're trying their best.
If you notice, Oswego's attack isn't bad. It's just, it's very hard for them to get it up there for them.
Well, of course, the Red Rams, such a proficient team when it comes to defense.
Yeah, and even with the outing of 4 of their players, they're still a very hard team to split and get through.
And, of course, we think of last year's team, the team that went to the Final Four, regional champions, ranked number 4 in New York and at one point ranked number 6 in the country. The thing is, they only lost 2 defenders from last year. The rest of their defensive core is still intact this year.
Which just explains why they've had so much success on the defensive end of things.
Exactly. The difference comes in that the other 7 seniors, the other 5 of the 7 seniors they lost came in the goal and did forward.
Which has really led Megan Baker to step up and really take a leading role in this team to try and create something for her team.
As if she hadn't, as a freshman, she had 24 goals, second in goals scored in the entirety of New York Class A. She is just an offensive monster. And Berger's got to come way out of the goal there.
Another stop.
Probably for the best for her. 5 seconds left in the first half. No last-minute surprise, and that is the end of the first half. The Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams attempting to run away with things against the Oswego Buccaneers. I can't say they're trying to leave them shipwrecked because I did last game, even though it was a good pun. So let's see. I mean, they're allowing them no quarter. The Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams allowing the Oswego Buccaneers no quarter. As we head into halftime, thank you very much for joining us live on YouTube. We'll be right back in about 10 minutes at the start of the second half. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Jamesville-DeWitt Central High School here in DeWitt, New York. Sam Gelfand and Zach McBennett here, bringing you this game between the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams and the Oswego Buccaneers. The Red Rams up 3-0 as the second half is about to begin. They're attempting to make this one a landslide.
If you look, there has been a goalie change for the JD Red Rams as Carrie Dunn makes her goalie debut, replacing Kaylee McKenna.
Of course, the Red Rams down both of their starting goalies, both of them to quarantine, so the Red Rams improvising out there. McKenna had one save. Got to give her that.
One more save than I've ever made, to be honest.
One more save than I've ever made. Have you ever been put into the goal in an emergency situation?
Yes, when I was in 6th grade.
So when you're put in an unfamiliar,
meant.
you're put in an unfamiliar situation like that, you've never had a chance to do the drills and the warm-ups and whatnot, you're not in the mentality. How do you attempt to adapt? What's going through your head?
Well, what was going through my head was don't mess up. But then in the finals, I let the ball go through my legs. So I like to forget that. It's not like just playing a different position than you're normally played to, because in some ways goalie is way different from just any type of soccer.
It's so different from the rest of the rest of the game. As there was a very close chance to get a shot on goal there.
Megan Baker using her speed just to pick that ball off.
I have to imagine Baker's going D1 when she graduates.
I've talked to her, and she has said that Cornell is her dream school. So
That's a great school too.
it is indeed.
I mean, Cornell's just... Actually, I should hold my tongue.
If you look how many JD players are on that right side right now, just all having that interplay between one another.
Well, one thing that Coach Neese certainly attempts to foster is a sense of teamwork and a sense of camaraderie out there.
And it really shows on the field when you have these players doing 1-2s and making runs and really playing for each other.
Not just each other, but it's like they're in each other's heads, too.
All with one mind, yeah. They just know what they want to do at all times.
The science fiction hive mind that is the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams. Trying to think of a movie that has one of those, but I can't. Anyway, here's Hildreth. Attempted cross is lost in the shuffle. There's a clearance from... I couldn't see the number.
The elements make it very hard for people to settle the ball here. And it may be the reason that Oswego is struggling to play the ball out of the back and trying to just get it up as soon as they can, hoping for one to just slip through.
We talked a lot on Tuesday, about the elements and the way that rain can factor into playing not only on this turf but in the game in general, as Baker took a difficult shot off the shoulder. She's going to poke it forward. Now it's Hulbert, who was hoping for a hat trick, but it was more of a hope and a prayer than an actual possibility.
If you saw the way that JD just interplayed there in the middle, they're doing 1-touch, 2-touch passes to get the ball to one another, to suck the defense in and get the ball out wide for Brooke Hulbert to have a easy cross in.
Did you ever think you would sound this academic?
No, not really.
.36.5 minutes left in the second half of the game. Throw in for the Bucks.
If you look at the way that Megan Baker just runs at that ball, she just doesn't. She just uses all of her energy to go after that ball and win it back for her team.
But she's got the stamina in spades, too. It's a long attempt from Hulbert. Could have possibly been across to Baker, and, well, Berger put the kibosh on that. That almost hit Avery Young in the face. It happens out there.
It does. And if you look...
Hey, there's a clearance from Carrie Dunn.
Making her goalie debut, first touch and goal.
Low collision there between Lindsey Hildreth and an Oswego defender, so we can take another look at it. There's a clearance from Dunn.
first touch as a goalie. And it looked to me like she just tripped over this ball, but
there was definitely a
some
push to the
contact.
back.
There
That was
was
Kat
some-
Winchek.
The kick from Sydney.
So Winchek called for the foul.
And if you see the way that the JD players all just went to the middle, trying to force the ball out wide, forcing the ball not to be played through their midfield.
Mia Fierro has it taken away, and
Nora
I'm going to call that a
Prosnick.
clearance as an understatement. That rolls all the way to the 10-yard line.
As Nora was fighting for that ball.
34.5 minutes left.
And if you see the way that JD tries to lock in Oswego whenever they get those throw-ins near the end of their field.
I think halfway through this game, one of my initial questions has already been answered. I was saying, with the Red Rams having their last two games canceled or postponed, the 23rd against East Syracuse Manoa and the 27th against Central Square, would they be rusty? Would the Red Rams be rust red? And the answer so far is no. They're playing like they never lost a beat.
It looks to me like they're very excited to get back out there and show that they haven't lost a step. They have not been slacking during these past two canceled games.
So, in a sense, it works in the opposite effect. Instead of playing like they haven't been out on a pitch in a while, it's playing like every moment on the pitch is a privilege.
And it is. Playing soccer is something that young people love to do, and you have to savor it while you can.
And speaking of, the NYSPHSAA have gone to great lengths, to allow these players to be able to play. As we take a look at some of the guidelines they've released right now, masks and social distancing mandatory for all. No hugs, high fives, or handshakes. No goal celebrations. Though here's an attempt. Big stop by Berger. That's the wrong graphic. That's the home goalie graphic. She's not even the goalie anymore. Why did I click on that? I was trying to get back to safety guidelines. Here we are. No hugs, high fives, or handshakes. The benches have been extended, and the referees are meant to stay at least 10 feet away from the action when they can. Attendance is limited to 50% capacity. The two-pass program here. High-risk sports such as football have been moved to March. And there are no playoffs to minimize travel. And I don't know if you saw this today, but Zlatan put a video on Twitter today where he said, "The virus challenged me and I won, but you are not Zlatan. Do not challenge the virus. Use your head, respect the rules, social distancing, and masks always." Thank you, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. If you're not going to take it from him, who are you going to take it from?
Zlatan, probably one of the best soccer players of all time.
Certainly one of the best
forwards
ever.
He certainly acts like it.
Well, it raises an interesting question because I tend to be a proponent of athletes, I don't want to say developing a persona, but certainly being a little more media friendly and finding that voice of theirs. Do you think that it's really important that athletes be able to market themselves in that way?
I do, because I believe that when you have the media rooting for you, I believe it helps you with your mental health and being in the right mindset. Instead of always worrying about what the media is doing, you can just play your game and be the best player you can be.
You know, if you get them to like you, that tends to help as well. Although it tends to help promote yourself when you're someone as good as Zlatan was, or is. He's with AC Milan now. Oh, that could have been a big finish, but it's just wide right. So we see it one more time.
The ball rolls out to Maeve Murphy, and she puts her head down and takes a hit, almost on target.
Holbert on defense now.
You see the way that JD is pushing up the field and really leaving nowhere for Oswego to go.
They've done an excellent job at keeping the Buccaneers cornered.
Yeah, reserving even 4 or 5 people at all times to stay within a passing distance of the ball, trying to just keep it in a corner for them.
That's taken away from Nora Prosak. Holbert with the throw-in. Gotta love it when they keep it in the corner where a camera can't get it.
I believe it is a corner now, though.
30 minutes left, as you can see on the scoreboard out there.
And even though JD has been dominating this game, you cannot say that Oswego is completely out of it. Only 3 goals down. There is a chance for a comeback. It's not over yet.
No, but it is certainly a bit of a stretch for Oswego, especially considering... Well, hold on a minute. Oh! Technically, that was off the goalpost, so that was not the goal itself, so that went out of bounds. But let's have a quick little trivia contest. When was the last time the Oswego Buccaneers scored against the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams?
I'm going to go with 2012.
Never.
2018.
October 11th, 2018 was the last time that the Oswego Buccaneers scored a goal against the Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams.
I might have been a couple of years off.
Yeah, 2012 to 2018, it's just 6 years. No big deal. Is going to go to the corner again.
That's Catherine Durkin crossing the ball in for her teammates.
But nothing coming of it. That's a big clearance for the Buccaneers. Though you have to imagine tonight they have a better chance of scoring that goal than any, with the Red Rams short-staffed, 2 makeshift goalies in the net. Ball could not get through the legs, and Durkin's going to have to scramble for it, but it goes out.
And even though you could take Megan out or even your best players and save them up, it seems like they're very excited to play after not playing for a while, and they'd rather just stay in the game.
All that pent-up energy. And if you're Coach Neese, I guess you're hoping to put this game out of reach first.
As Oswego has minimal people up right now.
If you're the Red Rams, you have to think. You have this incredible championship pedigree. They haven't lost more than 3 games in a season since 2009. And this year, there are doubters. They lost some of their best players. And it's not about the score. It's about sending a message. It's about saying, yes, we are still one of the top, most premier soccer programs in New York.
Which has never been doubted until this year, but it seems to me like they are proving that they are still top of the notch.
And I have to imagine that's probably why their starters are all still out on the pitch. And here's Durkin trying to weave through, caught on a bounce by Berger.
If you see, it's JD playing it through the center, out to their wings again, and just creating so much space and time for the people on the wings to do some serious damage, getting crosses and getting shots and cutting in and creating opportunities for their teammates.
There's a joke in here somewhere about pirate ships and wake and flow. I can't think of it right now, but I will say that the Red Rams have done a very good job at controlling the flow of players on the pitch, determining where people are going to be. They're shifting around and beating formations. A little too much mustard on that. Otherwise, Baker, I think, would have been guaranteed to score on that one. Let's be honest, anytime Baker gets near the goal, it's virtually a guarantee.
And that was a little shove in the back on Lindsey Hildreth as she creates an opportunity for a free kick to be shot or whipped in.
Hildreth was double-teamed there. No surprise they got a little bit antsy. Hildreth, once again, does have 4 career goals against the Buccaneers in just 2 years. In just 3 games, actually, in 2 years.
And if you look at this free kick, it's all hands on deck for the Buccaneers. I thought I'd
Very
use one
good.
of your
That's
puns.
good.
I did think I would use one of your puns as I was reading off the list.
What list? What are you talking about?
The shot comes in.
And the hopes go out. Berger with the goalie kick. Thought that was a handball, but I don't know. Either the monitor's lying to me or the referee just doesn't care that much.
If you see how compact Oswego is in the midfield, they don't have men or women, on the wings for and really like stretching the field. And it really allows JD to just stay really compact in the middle and just not let balls through.
We'll go with men as in the general term for mankind.
Yeah.
Really, dude is the best gender neutral term.
And
A lot of good dudes out there.
and it's in the. That was a very good split pass. See how everyone just falls into the middle and just everyone crashes into the middle after the ball's played in there.
Like a wave
Yeah.
on the high seas.
And then it just creates space for the out wide players like it did just then.
And that's what I was saying. Their ability to control the flow of players and break up those formations, force people to one side of the pitch or the other, has really lent itself to great success in this game.
Yeah, and that's how you break teams down is you put one person out of the equation and you force one person to roll, and it makes the whole team roll, and it just creates advantages in the middle of the field for you to play through.
And the Red Rams have taken advantage of most of those advantages throughout this contest as they're attempting to get a little more offense going now.
But if you see how compact Oswego is, it's leaving space out wide for them to get crosses in like that.
There's a cross, and it's offside. Would have been a goal, but offside.
I honestly do not know if that was offsides. I think it was just the blazing speed of Megan Baker that made the referee think it was.
Well, let's see.
Oh, no, that was not. That was definitely on.
That was definitely offside?
That was definitely onside.
Yeah. Onside.
Yes,
So you're blaming the referee.
I am.
You heard it here first. His words, not mine.
And if you see the ball into the middle of the pitch again, and they're driving, leaving spaces on the wing for wingers to go through.
And speaking of wingers, here's one. Nice little shot from the corner, but a better save by Berger.
That's just showing about how much space is being created when the ball goes into the middle of the field and everyone just tries to get really compact and not allow balls through the middle. It just allows so much space on the wings.
The Red Rams have been trying a lot of those shots from the wing tonight, but none of their goals have come off one.
Well, you can't argue about that. It actually has, because when you cross the ball in, and even if it's a rebound goal, it's still coming from out wide, and the chances are being created from out there, even though if it's not directly coming.
Well, I should say not from the crosses from out wide, but direct
Yes.
shots on goal out wide. They've been
Yes.
trying a lot, but haven't had any goals off of them yet. I say yet because you never know. And there's why. There's your example. It's Brooke Bort. Brooke Bort with her first career goal. It's 4-0. Take a look.
It just comes off a deflection from an Oswego player as the goalie carried on, goes up to hug her teammate.
Brooke Bort, beloved by her rest of her teammates, the only freshman on the JD roster, finally puts up her first career goal. She was on JV as an 8th grader.
And freshmen on varsity have produced a lot for JD in the past, as seen in Megan Baker last year with the most goals on the team.
So it is 4-0. We can take one more look. Brooke Bort's first career goal. First for her and Brooke Holbert. In fact, if your name is Brooke, you're having a pretty good night out there.
My sister's name is Brooke.
I'm sure she's having a lovely time watching the game along with us. And if you are, of course, let us know. We have a wonderful comment section as well. I'd love to hear from you. 21 minutes and 50 seconds
Brooke,
left.
if you're watching this comment.
We never got any answers after I asked earlier in the game, can you eat a soccer ball?
I cannot say I have tried.
And if you're just joining us, that is the out-of-context statement of the night. So it's going to be a free kick. It's Alice O'Connor, who's been playing from the bench tonight. Header is stopped by Berger.
Oswego really has to get people up the field and try to create something if they want to get back into this game.
You know, the two most talked about players in this game are Baker and Berger, and it just reminds me that I didn't eat lunch. Hope Mario and Salvo's is still open after this. Mario and Salvo's, if you're watching, please please sponsor us.
Or Chipotle, that's where I want.
We have the capability for ads here, just no one's reached out yet. And why would it take them so long to reach out? Don't they want to sponsor this incredible piece of programming?
I'm enjoying watching this, so.
So am I. Then again, I'm a little biased. My blood, sweat, and tears poured into this broadcast. As Hildreth takes it down on the wing. Not content at 4-0, they want to keep it going.
If you look, Oswego's finally keeping some people up the field to try and have an outlet to get out of the backfield.
The past two games held at JD, both were boys' games, but they were a 6-0 and 5-0 blowouts, respectively. And now it's 4-0 here with the girls against the Buccaneers.
They could be going for goals just to try to outdo the boys.
Do you think there's any sort of rivalry between the boys and the girls teams?
There is.
I'm getting a lot of head nodding right there.
Yeah, as being on the team last year, it finally felt good to do as good as the girls last year, making it to the Final Four, which is something that they seem to do every year.
Yeah, and in fact, we've got some statistics about that here as we go into the mask break. So we'll show you them in a moment, but first, we want to talk to you about our next game. It's going to be coming up on Halloween at 2 p.m. With the spooky graphics, the Liverpool Warriors come in to take on your Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams. Don't miss that one. Should be a fun one. The Warriors coming in from Class AA. And coming up after that, the biggest game of the year potentially. Boys soccer, Red Rams versus the East Syracuse Manoa Spartans on November 4th. That's a Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
That one's going to be a slugfest.
Oh, in goals and punches.
If it's anything like last year, it will be a physical game.
Most likely. But we were talking about that. You're talking about that decade of dominance that the Red Ram girls have had over the past 5 years. The record is 100 wins, 11-1 from 2015 to 2019. That's an .893 winning percentage. All 5 years they visited the state Final Four, 3-time state runners-up, and never did they drop below 4th in New York State. But the question is it really 5 years of dominance, or is it a decade of dominance? Because in 10 years prior, they are 10-time Section 3 champions. They have an ongoing streak going of 33 sectional playoff appearances without a loss, and they've never lost more than 3 matches in a season. Of course, last year they were ranked 6th in the country, according to the USA Today poll. So if there's any team in New York State that has experienced success, it is most certainly the Red Rams girls squad. In fact, the New York Sports Writers Association said that Jamesville-DeWitt, in general, their girls' athletics programs, number 2 in New York.
And that's incredible considering all the teams in New York City are down that way.
Yeah, New York City and Westchester County, even some fierce competition from Rochester, even up here. You know who number 1 was? Take a guess. It's FM. And of course, you know, we've been talking about the difference in classes throughout this game. FM has 350 more students to draw from than JD does. So to consider that JD is hanging in at number 2 against Fayetteville Manlius in terms of the best girls program in New York, very impressive.
If you see Lindsey cutting in, off a chance off the wing, crossing it in.
Meanwhile, the Oswego Buccaneers have not had a lot of success in most sports. Their football team actually has not won a game since 2014. They didn't even have a football team last year.
Which made the boys' games very more physical in soccer.
You know why the football team hasn't won since 2014? They haven't gotten enough yards. Yards.
I like that one. I do
Blew
like
the
that one.
punchline. That one I had to write down because I thought of that when putting together my notes, and I was like, that is brilliant. Yeah, just to toot my own horn for a second. Of course, if you love me as well, you can drop a comment here on YouTube.
Sam for president.
That's what someone said. I think I'd prefer Sam for Senate, honestly, in the grand scheme of things.
Why not?
Well, it depends on your interpretation of constitutional authority, and I certainly have an interpretation. I completed a minor in political science. But I think that the president's more supposed to be a slightly more symbolic figurehead. You can get more done in the Senate because you're actually proposing laws. The president can only do executive orders.
Well, you got my vote.
Well, that's all that matters.
What a save.
Brilliant save as Jaden Clemens-Batenko sent one on a line to the goal, but that line was cut by Emma Berger.
Actually, it was punched, but...
Well, for the sake of the metaphor.
yeah.
We're all about metaphors here. That's what we do. 17 minutes remaining in the game, and at the 4-0 mark, I'm comfortable of saying in the game. It'll be interesting. The Red Rams beat Oswego on the 20th 4-0. If they'll have the exact same results tonight. Maybe not, maybe
I
so.
believe-
That's
Oh,
behind.
wow.
That's behind.
And what an opportunity for the girls to go up by one more goal.
And what a sequence of events is we see here off the post, then another shot, and that went off of the football goal posts. And it looked like it went in goal, but it was actually, it actually went just above and just behind.
And I believe that would have been Brooke Holbert for the hat trick if she would have scored that.
Imagine, first career goal turns into a first career hat trick.
I believe the only other girl on the team to have a hat trick is Megan Baker, so she would be in good company.
That is correct. Baker's actually had 2 hat tricks in her career. The first one coming up in the season opener against Auburn, or the second one, the season opener against Auburn. First one of the season. Let me just keep digging. The Oswego's still digging for buried treasure, but they haven't found any.
I was about to say, is that a pun?
Well, I turned it into one.
Very clever. As they get their first opportunity.
Carrie Dunn out of the goal, but there's the excellent defense of Jamesville-DeWitt coming in to save the day. And also there's a demonstration of the value of a good experienced goalie. Nothing against Carrie Dunn, she just hasn't done this before.
No, playing goalie for the first time is hard. I found that out the hard way.
Baker gets pushed. So with the score up as it is, I found myself wondering, preparing for this game, what exactly is a Buccaneer?
what is it?
Well, we hear it tossed around when it comes to Pirates, but I actually wrote a report. It's like a full-on book report. The term Buccaneers originally referred to hunters on the Caribbean island of Hispaniola, which we now know as Haiti and the Dominican Republic. The name comes from the native Caribbean word for a spit roast over a fire, bucan. As, hold on, Megan Baker's on fire. There's a 1-2 and 5-0. You can practice that all day, and it will never look better than that.
And that was Brooke Holbert for the hat trick.
Hey.
No, that was Brooke Bort. Never mind. Wrong Brooke.
It was a Brooke.
I did see the Brooke, and I was like...
But Brooke Bort now with 2 goals on the day for her and an assist for Megan Baker, so she's got a goal and an assist on the night. And it's 5-0. We'll take one more look at it before we go back to our history lesson. That was a beautiful 1-2 punch, almost like a one-timer in hockey. Anyway, so the word Buccaneer comes from the Caribbean word for a spit roast over a fire, bucan, which is also the root word for barbecue. French colonists called buccaneers boucaniers, which was then anglicized by English colonists as buccaneers. Early buccaneers came to Hispaniola around the year 1625, most of them French, and made a living selling jerky to French privateers. Privateers, by the way, if you're unfamiliar with pirates, were essentially pirates with government licenses to be pirates, but only towards certain countries. The Spanish began attacking buccaneers to hurt the French food supply. The buccaneers made the switch to piracy as both self-defense and a better way to make a living. So the Spanish got what they wanted in a way, but they made enemies in the process. The Buccaneers developed a reputation as being particularly stealthy and ruthless pirates, using surprise and speed to overwhelm their enemies. They used smaller boats, sailing under the cover of night and sniping crew members above deck before boarding. Buccaneer captains were actually democratically elected by their crew, and the crew decided who to attack by popular vote. They also worked out an insurance system for those injured in battle, and this is before the year 1700, too, so democracy and insurance, they were surprisingly advanced. There were an estimated 1,000 buccaneers by the year 1660. That's when both England and France realized this large pirate force could be a cost-effective weapon against Spain, so they began issuing privateer licenses to buccaneers. Hold on.
Ooh.
That was almost... That was almost 6-0. We're almost done with the book report, don't worry.
And 4 goals for the Brooks tonight. That would have added another one.
That would have been 5.
And 3 for Brooke Bort. Her first hat trick.
So by the year 1680, both governments found buccaneers to be hard to control. When Spain's influence in the Caribbean weakened, buccaneers began attacking English and French ships too. All 3 European powers turned on the buccaneers, and the group was no more by the year 1700. But the classical pirates we tend to think of stuck around for about another 100 years or so, till about the year 1800. So there we go. That's what a buccaneer is.
Well, I do have a push book report if you would like to do it for me after that splendid report.
Don't ask me that. My source was Wikipedia.
As long as they don't ask you for sourcing, I think you're fine. Which they definitely will, though.
Yeah, they definitely will. That's how a push
in
works.
MLA format as well.
I still use MLA format in college. It comes in handy.
But will you use it once you are out of college?
Maybe. We'll see. I will tell you what is the most useful thing I got in high school, actually, was I was part of the speech and debate team, and I think everyone should have to be part of that team or take a class on speech and debate at least 1 year. Because it teaches you so many valuable life experiences from being able to talk in public to being able to do research to be able to present an argument properly. It gives you the most stuff you'll take outside of high school. So that's my advice to any high schoolers watching. Take a speech and debate class.
Do they have speech and debate class in JD?
Public speaking.
Public speaking, that's what
Close
it's called.
enough.
Basically the same thing.
Well, there's a debate team is the difference. I was on that.
Oh, okay. Crossed in.
Got a good stop by Berger.
You see, they're just crashing the net, even if the ball is going right to the keeper. They're expecting mistakes. They're willing to pounce on them, which is very good to see as a coach. You love to see that.
Yeah, the Red Rams have stayed so aggressive throughout this game and this season. It's like the energy of Megan Baker has been translated and sent to all the other players on the team.
Well, when you really have a player to look up to, you really want to rally behind them and just play to their standards and try to be the best player you can be for them.
And the best may certainly apply to Jamesville-DeWitt girls soccer. It's a fitting adjective.
Success.
Can't mess with success. Can't argue with it either. There are less than 10 minutes left in the match.
If you see, both teams are wearing off, as Oswego is not getting as many people back as they usually did before. And maybe they're just trying to get back into this game with 10 minutes left. Or they could just be exhausted from playing defense the entire game.
Berger, by the way, sitting down on that shot was the only reason that wasn't another little poke and goal.
And when you're looking at crosses like that, most people want you to just tap it in with the side of your foot. But in reality, when you hit the ball with the side of your foot like that, you're really subconsciously you're leaning back, and you actually have really good chances of hitting it over if you're hitting with the side of your foot. It's better to hit it with your laces and get your chest over the ball, and you have better chances of it going in.
Take it from the expert.
Tip. Just a little.
You still got. Do you have another season in you before college, or are you going straight after the ACL heals?
I do have another season left, and I hopefully will commit to a college soon. Not soon, but like within the next 2 years. I do not want to take a gap year.
There's a bit of a difference between soon and 2 years.
Yes, that is true. I mean, a lot can change in the next 2 years.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of envy you athletes for having that advanced knowledge of where you tend to go before the rest of us do.
Yeah, I mean, I've been taken out of that for now, but when I get back, hopefully I will.
I don't know how things are generally up here, but where I'm from in Florida, University of Miami, for whatever reason, loves to get people to commit when they're sophomores. And so,
They're not
like,
even
some of
allowed
the
to go out to games when they're sophomores. You
Yes.
can verbally commit. You're not even allowed to fully commit then.
well, it's still a verbal commitment, but imagine you're a sophomore and you've got University of Miami knocking on your door and saying, "We want you."
Must feel really good.
Must be nice to have that kind of reassurance.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I can tell you right now because we got a little bit of time. Syracuse sent me the wrong letter of acceptance when I applied. I applied early decision in senior year, and they sent me, when you apply to Syracuse, you apply to the specific schools within it. So I applied to Newhouse, and then my second choice was Maxwell, the School of Political Science. And they sent me a letter that said, "Congratulations, you've been accepted to the Maxwell School of Political Science." And so I started filing appeals processes, and because I didn't get into my first choice, the early decision didn't apply, and there were calls, and then I get called into my college advisor's office one day, and they got someone from Syracuse on the line, and they say, "Yeah, so we sent you the wrong letter of acceptance. You were accepted into Newhouse the entire time."
Crazy story, but it did work out in the end, right?
It did work out, and I'm now almost in my senior year at Syracuse.
What are we going to do when you're gone? Are you still going to be announcing these games?
Well, I'm hoping that through you or someone else, I'll find someone to pick up where I've left off. You got me until winter of 2021, so you got me for half that basketball season. You got me for all soccer season.
Hopefully we can find someone to try to fill your boots.
Well, that's why I'm inviting so many people up here into the booth. Is to try to try to get people to say, "Wow, this whole broadcasting thing's pretty cool. I think I might want to try to do that." And I'm totally willing to take people under my wing and try to build up a program here, because I never had anything like this when I was in high school. I had to figure it all out myself.
It is fun. I'm glad you are letting me do it.
It's a lot of fun. Also, it's a lot more fun for you because you don't have to do the prep work.
Yes, I just come and talk about my soccer knowledge.
Exactly. You just say, "Oh, when I was playing."
Back in my day.
Oh, you'll understand when you're older.
Or like when I say, yeah, that's something only soccer players will understand, or about full contact.
Yeah, clearly I wouldn't get it. 5 minutes left in the game. The Red Rams up 5-0 over the Buccaneers, who found themselves going under as this game has continued. A deluge of points. Continue to crash. Oh, there was a trip up, and technically that should have been a handball, but they're going to let it go.
And more trip-ups. As Sydney Ballatin can be in the backfield and just take that one calmly.
She looks like she was favoring one leg a little bit more than the other, but she's walking it off.
We can see if JD can try to get one more, as we have 4 minutes left.
It'd be fun, because, the boys beat Oswego 6-0.
They can try to match that.
Hey, usually it's the other way around.
Or else we're going to brag about it to them.
I can only imagine the group chats once this game concludes.
Oh, yes, it's always fun. And recently there have been screen recordings of my announcing. Very fun.
I got to take a look at that. That goes up against the side of the net.
But I'm sure now the focus is going to be on Max's camera work.
Max McCall joining us as the emergency camera operator, just as Kerry Dunn and Kaylee McKenna have stepped up as emergency goalies.
Psych, you got faked.
Had to wait for the actual whistle. 3 minutes, 20 seconds left. The Red Rams are going to try to keep pressing till the very end.
If you see, they just do not take their foot off the gas. They keep so many people forward to try and win the ball out of the backfield. And
Could you say they're going full sail ahead?
I like that one. That was a good one. But
Thank
yes,
you.
they are.
The problem is I came up with all the best ones the last game.
I say it's been a pretty good job. I've enjoyed the puns today.
Yeah, there's been fewer though. But then again, you're here. I was doing it on my own the last time.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot wait for the ESM one with they're Warriors, right?
ESM are the Spartans.
The Spartans.
And
yes.
I happen to be taking a class on ancient Greek history right now, so I don't know if it'll be puns or just references that only I will get.
Or maybe a book report again.
Maybe, although, I am enjoying this nautical nonsense. It'd be certainly the most competitive, the hardest fought two teams, two crosstown rivals that have been clashing in sports this year and last.
And last year it ended with ESM being taken off sectionals at the hands of JD for the boys.
In basketball as well as soccer.
Basketball as well.
Yeah, it was a really good game in basketball, actually.
Oh yeah, I remember going to the.
They were playing boring basketball though. Their strategy was to wind out the clock for as long as they could, and then take a shot so that the Red Rams couldn't come back and try to hit any of their own, and just try to limit the time they had to shoot. And it wasn't fun, but they shot and scored anyway. So we advanced to sectionals. Unfortunately, we lost by 2 points.
Aw. Heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking. I believe we lost by 2 points in both the boys and girls teams. Both to CBA, I think, if I remember
believe that
correctly.
was Sydney Ballatin that got tripped?
That was, yes, Sydney Ballatin. And there's less than a minute to go in this match.
Hopefully everyone can stay not injured and just healthy for the remainder of the game.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Especially with Halloween coming up.
True. You have any plans? Anything
Me?
you're going to dress up as when you come back here for the game on Saturday?
I will dress up as Clark Kent if you want me to.
That's usually my costume.
Really?
It's not going to be mine though this year. I have a different idea.
Well, I'm learning from you. I might as well steal your old costume.
Yeah, that's fine. 20 seconds left. I'll be showing up in a suit, just a different suited character.
Oh. What character is
Or
it?
not really a
Is it
character.
surprise.
It's more of a surprise. Not really a character. It's a musical reference. As there's 6 seconds left.
And can they score one more? Half-field banger?
1 second.
And that's a wrap.
That is all she wrote. The Jamesville-DeWitt Red Rams have defeated the Oswego Buccaneers 5-0 in a thorough routing, leaving them marooned on a desert island somewhere in shark-infested waters. I'm just going to hit all of them right at the end. So, tell me, what were your takeaways from the game? How did you feel that the Red Rams fared, especially considering they were down both of their goalies?
Well, I believe that they did a very good job of trying to keep the ball out of their half. They really trapped Oswego in their corners and tried to just win the ball up the field, so they never had to have pressure on the goalies. They did a very good job of playing it through the center, out wide, and creating crosses and everything, really forcing Oswego to be in the midfield, and then playing out wide for them to make a play.
And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, that ends our telecast of Jamesville-DeWitt Athletics. Thank you so very much for joining us here live on YouTube. My name is Sam Gelfand on behalf of my broadcast partner, Zach McBennett, and our fill-in camera guy, Max McCall. Have a very good night, wherever you may be.